Hi, my name is Sam Led, and welcome to The Fearless Now. This is for you and you in the nosebleed seats if you're looking for an easier way to approach anxiety, stress, and unhealthy habits from the inside out. There's no techniques and no strategies, so sit back, relax, and let me be your peace of mind Uber driver here on The Fearless Now. Welcome to episode number 7 of The Fearless Now. I'm Sam Led. I'm a transformational coach. It's so great to be here for you guys, for you and you in the nosebleed seats. We are at Mighty Fine, episode number 7. We're making our headway here into this really exciting podcast. I love just being able to share this wisdom that was passed on to me through the understanding of the 3 Ps and my teachers in the 3 Ps. And it's just been such an incredible journey. And this podcast is going to be that kind of podcast where you might have to listen to it twice or 3 times. Listen to understand, but listen also for that feel-good feeling. And you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll just kind of drop into the moment. You'll start feeling like you, and all the anxieties of the day, all the things you have to do, all the places you have to go to will kind of fade into the distance. So let me be your peace of mind Uber driver, and let's talk about the mind's thought filter. I'm a pretty well-grounded person at times, but I'm also a well-grounded anxious person, especially when it comes to business. And, my forte is doing this stuff. When I'm creating, when I'm doing videos, when I'm writing, when I'm working with clients, I'm really not that anxious. I'm just Sam. But when I have to deal with the business end of things, or I have to deal with the logistics end of things, my mind has this filter like all of us do. It has a filter. It has an anxiety filter. It has a trepidation filter. It has a scaredy cat filter. It has an insecure filter. And we tap into those filters, those programs, the conditioned thinking all day long. A lot of it's really just part of being human, part of the human experience. But the insidious part of all those filters, and really understand this, the filters are really not even there. It's made up conditioned thinking that gets replayed. And the filter is not just in the moment anxiety. Right? We don't have ownership of it. It just pops up that we think the talk we have to give at work in front of people, or the doctor's appointment that's making us anxious is actually making us anxious when we're just having a moment of anxiety, anxious thinking. But those filters that we make up, that we differentiate between anxiety and insecurity and jealousy and heartbreak and whatever other emotion when we're ramped up in that thinking is all about, it's informing us of an old tape, an old recording that has been playing in the background, and replaying that old tape. It's very innocent. It's not your fault. It becomes habit forming. So for me, when I would have to get my taxes together or meet with my accountant, I would get insecure and completely anxious. But what didn't make sense to me is, when I would do this podcast, or I would do my videos, or I would meet with clients, I didn't feel anxious. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel insecure about that. And I started believing in that old tape that's wrapped up in all kinds of habit-forming thinking, addictive thinking that I'm replaying in my mind. The play button is hit when I'm driving to my accountant, or when I'm sitting at my desk and looking at my numbers. And that becomes a habit over time. And then it's wrapped up in old wounds and old failures. And there we go. There's the ball game. And suddenly we're not present. I got caught up in the wrong thinking filter. We truly have real agency over those filters, because there's no such thing. There's only one mind. There's only one body of thought and thinking moving through us in real time. If I can give you a good metaphor, it's kind of like a ticker tape at Wall Street, right? It's the ticker tape on the bottom of the news and the news channel. It's always moving through us. And we don't have to have ownership of it, because it's not us. It's not who we are. It's like weather. We're the sky, as Michael Neal says, one of my favorite 3 Ps coaches. We are essentially the sky. And weather is weather. It will always move through us. It will always be there, from the first day of our life to the last day of our life. The next time you have that anxiety filter on, or that fear filter, or that insecure filter, when you're doing something that is really not your favorite thing to do, like filing taxes or doing your expenses or whatever it is, realize that there's no such thing as that filter. And at every moment when you're feeling anxious, you can see it for what it is. The insecure thinking is not meant to prevent you from doing your taxes or doing something that your old habit-forming tape is playing in the moment. You have complete agency and free will to see beyond those momentary thoughts, and that it fluctuates every minute of our life. In one moment, you'll feel anxious and you feel scared, and then you sit down with your accountant and you're just going over the numbers and you survive it. You make it through and you walk out the door and you got your taxes done. And we all have free will to pick and choose what thoughts serve and what thoughts don't. I mean, that's just the nature of thought and thinking. Some thoughts are toxic and it's wrapped around, this ham sandwich of old wounds and memories. And sometimes we don't have any control over it. And that's the secret. So the next time you're really feeling your anxiety, just sit with it and see it and realize that's not you. It's thinking in the moment. And it's all part of the same universe of you. Who you are, though, is far bigger and far more expansive and far more important and far more special than momentary thinking, momentary cynicism, momentary anxiety filters, or whatever you want to call it. When we see it, we just see it in the moment. We can sit with it. We can see how it sabotages, our peace of mind. And even if we're having anxious thinking, we all do. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with you. A busy mind doesn't mean that you're not capable of doing your taxes. It's just thought moving through you. There's nothing scary or anxious about taxes. There's nothing scary or anxious about meeting with your accountant or whatever it is that you don't like to do or gives you anxiety or gives you insecurity or you don't think you're good at. Those things are all neutral. It's nothing to do with what you're capable of, who you are underneath all that thinking. When you see the difference between the anxiety filter that doesn't exist or the insecure filter that doesn't exist, that perhaps we are not using that internal default setting, that inner state of calm and focus and infinite intelligence within us when we are in those moments, because we're caught up in the thought train of anxiety. And when you see how it sabotages your peace of mind, how it sabotages maybe some of your relationships, how it sabotages your finances or whatever it is, the gift of seeing that as thought and thinking, you'll see that you might be just, I'm not looking at it the right way. I'm not looking at it the right way because I'm looking at it from my momentary, heavy, and uncomfortable thinking. So go beyond that noise of old wounds. Go beyond all that habituated thought and thinking. Because remember, who you are is much bigger than all of those thoughts. Because there's nothing to fix. Really, there isn't. It's all part of that salad bar of thought. And just seeing it, being the observer to all that unreliable narration of thought that your mind's creating story around is so powerful. Because just like gravity, you can count on it every single day for the rest of your life that there will be gravity. And hopefully, I'm willing to bet the bank on it that the sun will shine every morning. And you, 100% of the time, will be able to get out on the other side of that anxiety and be able to see more calm and see more confidence and see more focus and see more of you once you see how unreliable those filters are and that we're using our thought and thinking from the wrong direction, because the wrong direction is believing it in the moment. I hope this has been helpful. If you like what you hear, if you love this podcast, please like and subscribe and comment and tell your friends, and their friends can tell their friends, and so on and so on. I'll see you again, same bad time, same bad channel for the Fearless Now podcast. Have a great one.